Matt
Okay,
Smith.
whoever complained about the wheel, raise your hand. That's
Yeah,
what I
whoever
thought.
Yeah,
complained about the wheel, fuck
we
you,
know, we
honestly.
know, we know who it
Oh,
is.
whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
I didn't say
folks.
fuck you. I just
It's
wanted
just a
to.
wheel. Calm
Oh,
down,
only ever
Tim.
heard of it. oh, just go. Edit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Ryan Malo. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thanks for listening.
Welcome everyone to the BTB Movie Club. My name is Brian Larson. I'm substituting for the T in BTB Movie Club, Tim Larson. I'm joined today by Ryan Malo, Matt Smith, Mike Whildin, Dan Sears, Mike Hilty, and Paul the Waiter Rica, or as we like to call him, Leland Chi, or Aaron Lashbrook. Welcome everybody. This week we are on movie 232, Mike Whildin's pick, The Road to Perdition. Mike had the options of a Tom Hanks movie and Holly Hunter movie, and he went clearly with Tom Hanks. Mike, take it away.
Yeah, I had a lot of options with Tom Hanks, and so I went with one that I hadn't seen yet. Aaron, quick question. Did you watch any other Tom Hanks movies this week? Sounded like you were looking into it.
No. Why did it sound like that? What did I say?
I just misunderstood. Okay, never mind.
Because you looked at the list of Tom Hanks movie and said, boy, I need to watch Tom Hanks movies because I haven't seen a lot of these.
That's all it is.
No.
All right, so we watched Road to Perdition, starring Tom Hanks, um, Jude Law, the Superman from the Supergirl show, and others such as Stanley Tucci, Paul Newman. Um, yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think. Brian, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Sure. I had not seen this movie before, and I had planned on it several times. I actually wanted to pick it a couple times. It is based on a graphic novel. So, for those of you who don't know, I do a comics podcast on the SPDM Crew Network, and you're welcome to listen to that. It comes out every Wednesday.
What's the
Shameless
name of that
plug.
podcast, Brian?
Oh, why, Aaron, thank you for asking. It's the Comics Corner podcast with Beelar and Danny P. So Road to Perdition, also I believe Tyler Hoechlin is the proper pronunciation. I hadn't seen him in anything really, and actually recently heard an interview with him on a podcast, and kind of learned some stuff about the movie. He created a relationship with Paul Newman from this, and when he would visit the West Coast, Paul Newman would take him to a Dodgers game because he was huge into baseball, and actually played at Arizona State University while he was recording Seventh Heaven. So imagine being a college guy recording Seventh Heaven. You're supposedly dating one of those sexy chicks. I don't think it was a Jessica Biel. It was the other girl. And, the Thursday mornings after the show's on Wednesdays, you're getting made fun of. It's like, yeah, you got a good life, buddy. Anyway, Road to Perdition. What a great movie. I think Tom Hanks is outstanding. Paul Newman, Daniel Craig sounded ridiculous trying to not have a British accent. It really bugged me. Jude Law character was nuts. He played that so well. And there's not a lot of stuff Jude Law does that I find outstanding. I thought he was great with this. I do like the Sherlock Holmes and Watson. I thought he's good with that, but just overall not a huge Jude Law fan. And I thought he was great in this. For being a little kid, Tyler Hoechlin does a great job. I beginning to end, this movie and the cast, there was Jennifer Jason Leigh in it too. Yeah, it's the King of the North. I can't think of his name from Game of Thrones. Not King of the North, the Wilding King.
Oh,
Mance Rider. Yeah.
Yeah. He was
Syrian Hines or whatever.
just overall, great cast, great acting. The story, it's, one of those, the kids screws up and the dad's got to, fix it. And, the son who's jealous of Tom Hanks, his character, because his dad likes him more than his own son. Uh, yeah, I'm talking to you, Derek Lowe. Um, the I can understand where you get to the point where you do something drastic and he thinks the kid's going to turn on him and he's going to go to jail and just not a good person and sends everything into a tailspin. He decides he's, going to Chicago. He's going to work for, basically it's Capone, right? He's going to work, but he goes to see Stanley Tucci and, I'll work for you for the rest of my life and do every dirty, nasty thing you need me to do. You just got to let me finish what I got to get finish. And they can't let him do it. So, but then they do. What an amazing, I was just beginning to end, great story. Not any huge surprises or anything that you didn't see coming, but just very well done. Glad I watched it, and good pick, Mike Whildin.
Thanks. Brian, had you seen this before? I'm sorry, I can't remember what you said.
No, I haven't seen it. It was something that I actually almost picked it a few times for different categories.
So, yeah, I know you said kind of no real surprises. Did you think that Mike Sullivan was going to make it through at the end? Or
I did
up
not.
until, I mean, like throughout the movie, did you think he was going to make it?
I did. I did. I was hoping when he got to the house, Aunt Sarah was going to be there. And when he came in and called her name and she wasn't there, I knew Jude Law was hiding there to shoot him. I guess the only surprise I would go with was the fact that the Mike Jr. wasn't at the house. He was off, and Daniel Craig thought he killed him. He didn't take the time to check if he was actually killing Mike Jr. But then again, an early part at the party, he didn't even know. He was like, "Which one are you?" kind of thing. So, he thought he killed him, and he didn't.
Yeah, I found the line interesting where like what was the other kid's name? It was like Paul or something like that, and it's like,
Peter.
oh, or Pete, yeah, Peter's like, oh yeah, why don't you take Peter and get out of town? He's like, well, I can't. Peter's dead. It's like they totally knew.
Yeah.
They expected it to be so yeah, they were all in on it. I was like, ugh. Um, yeah, I'd never seen this before, but I thought I don't know why I just had the image of Tom Hanks's character being gunned down at the end, and so when he went after the group in the street, I was kind of expecting somebody else to pop out and just take him down, and then they didn't. I was like, wait, is he gonna make it? And then he almost did, and yeah, so um yeah, threw me for a loop. Anyway, Matt Smith, a question for you first. Did you how much of the local Illinois landscape and towns were you able to pick out?
I couldn't like identify exactly because they filmed in a couple different spots. I kind of felt like I could tell when it was Geneva, like downtown Geneva. Like I'm like, oh, that's a downtown area. It's probably Geneva. But they did a really good job with all the period piece cars and the dressing up the buildings and things. So it was really hard to tell. I assume the back road stuff was just random back road somewhere. Like I don't know if they or I didn't pay attention enough, but yeah, it was tough. It was tough to tell.
I think Geneva said like Geneva Bank on it, and that was like I kind of
Yeah.
forgot. Oh, hey, this is filmed around here, and I rewound to see if like when he's going through and making all the the rounds of different
Yeah,
robberies, I was trying to see if I could pick anything out, and
it was so
the that was the only
interesting.
one I recognized.
It was so interesting to see some of that because it always I know, and they've done stuff locally before. They've been in a town called Plano near me. They filmed some Superman stuff and they filmed some TV, some horror thing in Elburn, Illinois, which is close to where I work. So I know they do it, but it always amazes me how they can just transform it. And I'm sure some of it is tricks, right? I'm sure they have angles and stuff where you're not seeing things. But like the drive-in to Chicago, I mean, you think about they're crossing the Chicago River on one of the bridges over the river, and it looks like it's 1930, whatever it is. It is crazy. I'm like, how do they? And I'm sure some of it's CGI, and they did it on, they did it at 6 a.m. on a Sunday, so nobody, there's no cars on the road or anything. But it's just that's amazing. Just to your point. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there for you, but
No, keep going, please.
yeah. So I had never seen this before. I knew of it because, as Melo mentioned last week, we have a buddy who we worked with, who's in it, and actually, he gets some FaceTime in this movie. So when they're at the wake and the people are dancing, there's a couple kind of spinning, and the couple kind of goes across the camera a couple times. That man that's dancing his name is Paul Meyer. He is not credited, I don't think, on the movie. But I think he got the gig, and Melo, maybe you know more than I do, but he was actually an Irish dancer. Like that was something he did as a hobby. So they asked him to, and he didn't. And you think of Irish dancing as like Lord of what was it called? Lord of the River Dance or River
Lord of the Dance.
Lord of the Dance, yeah.
Like a blanket.
Yeah, but they were just dancing normally. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I did pause it because my wife, she's like, "Oh, that's the guy, you know." I'm like, I mean, we're acquaintances. I wouldn't call us friends, but I know of him. He's a principal around here now. But anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. And then I think I told you guys this last week. Some of the cars they used, Jen Service's dad is in like a classic cars club, so they got to have their cars be in it, which is kind of neat. But anyway, yeah, I had known of it. I'd never seen it. One of those things I just never got around to watching. Really enjoyed it. I thought it started a lot better than it finished. I feel like the story kind of hooked me really well. Um, and I know it won the Oscar for cinematography, is that right? So that I appreciated really well too. I thought the camera work was really well done.
I did notice
Um,
that too, yeah.
yeah, characters were great actors. Obviously, we got some great actors in there. Um, yeah, it did if for whatever reason, whether it was just getting later in the evening or whatever, it started so well. I felt like it didn't finish as strong. Still a great movie, but the finish just felt not as strong as the opening. It kind of struggled to um, kind of keep the I don't know, tone maybe. I don't know if that's the right word, tone or mood or something. Um, and I get it. You can't have just this movie about, an upset dad and then he goes on a murderous rampage. It would be a pretty short movie. You need this stuff, but um, like they tried to inject some humorous stuff in there and just I don't know, it just felt kind of off. And long maybe. I don't know if that was the problem. Anyway, that being said, very good movie. I'm glad I watched. I would definitely watch it again. Um, I love Tom Hanks, and I know he's done a lot of stuff now, but I loved him playing someone who's not squeaky clean. Like somebody who's got some dirt, somebody who does some bad stuff in his life. I like that a lot. But even then, it's still like, hey, this guy pretty much is the reason we're all alive and we have a house. So I'm gonna do whatever he asks, and I can respect that. Um, but yeah, it was kind of fun to see that. Jude Law, what a creep! It's just a creepy, creepy character in this movie. I think he plays it really well. Um, that was cool. Some of the historical stuff, I know it was very loosely based on some real life people, so it was fun. It was kind of fun to hear Al Capone and some of this other stuff, and it was again kind of fun to see that. And again, I mentioned this when I first started blabbing here. Just the period piece part of it, just the vehicles and the clothing and the even the language and some of that stuff. I just thought they did a really nice job with all that. It made me believe that it was 1940, whatever it was, which sometimes they don't, right? Sometimes it's really obvious or they don't pay close enough attention to something and you kind of lose it in there and you kind of lose the magic. So, Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'll probably watch it again at some point, just to maybe pick up on some other things that I might have missed. But overall, very, very happy I watched it. Good movie. Could have been great, I think, but really good movie. So
Good deal. Anybody, who was the director for this again?
Sam
Sam
Mendes.
Mendes.
Okay. Yeah, that one thing I definitely noticed was the cinematography. I just kind of a lot of slow zooming in and out, and like that early scene when Mike Jr.'s, kind of sneaks in the car and he's watching the whole meet go down, and you
mm.
see his dad's feet right there, and the rest of it. I thought it was pretty creative. Um, Dan Sears, what did you think of the movie?
Okay. I saw this way back in the day, probably 20 years ago. Um, and I haven't, it's the only time I've seen it, so this is the second time I've seen it. And I really like this movie. I don't think it gets the due that it deserves. There's a lot of mob movies out there that are get higher praise than this movie, but I really like it. I think it's interesting, the relationships between the fathers and sons. And of course, Tom Hanks and Paul Newman aren't biological father and son, but he kind of raised them. So the relationships are pretty interesting. Um, you had talked about the end, the end when he dies. I'm like, the whole movie, I'm like, there's no way he can live. I mean, when he was in the house, I'm like, this can't be how it ends. Him living, and nope, sure enough, he dies. I don't think any of the mob characters in this movie can break their fate. I think they're all, like Paul Newman said at one point, we're all going to hell. And I think that's what's going to happen there. Um, let's see what else here. If the policeman walking out when somebody's shooting, and you just say, "Hey, what are you doing?" No, you pull your gun out, and you, you you're just begging to get shot at that point, especially from such a slimy character as Jude Law was playing in this movie. He really did a good job, I thought, in this movie. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
a
all
couple
the
of people have
actors.
mentioned Jude Law in this. I think like he did a good job acting, but I also thought the way they kind of like did up his character and just the looks with like the long fingernails and kind of the patch of hair up here, and they made him very, very odd. And then that last scene when he comes back from the camera and the glass that had shattered all over him in the earlier scene had all those little nicks on his face. It's like, oh man. So I
Yeah,
thought
it didn't help his looks there.
yeah, no, they did a good job of making him look eh, weirdly dangerous. But anyways, go on.
Yep. Yep. Um, let's see. Yeah, I mean Hanks, he it's not his fault, that his wife and son were killed, but that's the life he was living, so he kind of brings them into this life, and that's what ends up getting them killed. I mean, I'm assuming that Aunt Sarah got killed um, by Jude Law, so he gets all these people killed, so he had to die. Um, the let's see what else here. Yeah, when you're driving to the car, Hanks is driving to see that other slimy underboss. I forget his name, the one he shot. You open up the envelope and see what it says. And then you just get another envelope and seal it again. I mean, you don't take that envelope to him and not know what it says. But I guess that's what, he just always did whatever um, Paul Newman's character told him to, his son, through his son, or he was just a good soldier, I guess. Um, and let's see, oh, Mike Jr., he says it's my fault. And Tom Hanks tells him, no, it's not your fault. Yes, it's absolutely your fault. Okay. You're screwing around, hiding in the car. It's your fault. And, I guess it's kind of ironic that he's the only one that lived. And He, apparently stayed out of the mob life because he didn't want to kill Jude Law at the end. And I think, Tom Hanks was happy about that, that he, didn't kill him and he didn't turn into himself. Let's see. But yeah, we were talking about somebody mentioned um, Daniel Craig's bad accent. On the opposite, I thought Paul Newman gave a really good Irish accent. He was believable to me as an Irish guy. I was a little, I don't know, maybe something helped me with this. So does he kill? Does Paul Newman have the other guy killed? The guy at the beginning that they're having the wake for, because his son was stealing and he had to blame somebody. So is that why he died? I'm not sure about that part.
Uh, so what you're saying is your theory could be that Paul Newman knew Daniel Craig was stealing, so he
Right.
killed this other guy, put the crime on him
Yes.
to take
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that when
he's
we
the mob
watched it.
boss, so
I
he
like
would
the
look
idea though.
weak. Yeah, he'd look weak if he didn't blame somebody and kill somebody for stealing. And he obviously didn't want to kill his son.
I think that's why he let it fly, like let it go once his kid did kill him. But he said, just go to talk. Like, I don't, he's the guy who got killed said he'd worked for him like half his life. He didn't want him dead. So I don't know. I think it was one of those things. Um, I swear the dog hasn't barked until now. Um, anyway, yeah, I didn't think that Paul Newman wanted him dead. I think that Craig was trying to use that as a cover, and Newman had to go with it because what's the alternative?
Well,
Okay. Yep.
when Tom Hanks was like confronting Paul Newman, I don't remember all the character names, but when they were like in the basement of the church, he said something about like, okay, so you just let him like, I thought that we were, going there to talk or whatever, and like he ends up killing him. I thought it was killing him out of his own, like I don't remember exactly what he says, but he said something like, "Oh, he was actually just like taking all of his business or something like that. He was doing it to get himself richer, and you just let it go." And Paul Newman's like, "Yeah, I know."
All right. Um, the other little mystery to me is, why does Jude Law's character kill him? Because wouldn't at that point the contract be canceled? Stanley Tucci helped Tom Hanks kill Connor. So wouldn't they say, okay, it's over with? And
Did you
what's
see
that,
his
Brian?
face?
Sorry.
Did you see his face?
I mean, are you just saying he's crazy?
Well,
Also,
he had all those cuts on his face from the
Well, yeah,
glass.
yeah.
So
Saying it was
That's the thing.
personal.
He just wanted revenge. Yeah.
I think that maybe upstanding guys like Al Capone and Frank Nitti didn't uphold their end of the bargain after they got robbed a lot.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought all three of those things were possible. That he just did it on his own, that they just let the contract go, because Tom Hanks has to die for stealing from us, or from Al. Um, and then the third one, I thought maybe he just didn't get the message. You know, he
Yeah,
was
this
already there. He already
1931.
killed Sarah. Yeah, they didn't know Sarah's phone number. You know,
yeah. The next scene was a guy coming and going, telegram, telegram.
shit.
I think you had to clarify us and Al Capone.
Well, I was just saying because I mean Frank Nitti worked for Al Capone, so
No,
it's
no, I
Al's
know.
money.
I know. It just sounded like it was coming from Aaron.
Oh no, 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 Mr. Capone.
All right. That's a good pick, Mike. I enjoyed going back and watching this again 20 years later.
Um, Good questions too. Getting everybody involved there. Um, Hilty, welcome back to the group now that you're actually in the right spot.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Did you just miss the email or what happened?
I have to take the hit on that because clearly I didn't send the email to you several times
no,
with the
no,
link.
you did. I'm just giving you shit. It's all good. Um, so I've seen this before. I saw this in theaters when it first came out. Really enjoyed it then. Upon rewatch of this, it's just like little nitpicks here and there. But overall, still a solid, really great period piece mobster movie. Like Tom, I really wish that Tom Hanks would take on more roles like this. And this isn't to say that like Tom Hanks doesn't like challenge himself or doesn't, he's got a bit of an image to uphold. And he doesn't do very many roles like this. Like he does this and then the Lady Killers remake a couple years later, and then that's really about it. Most of his other ones, he's like a pretty upstanding, solid guy. So um,
Wasn't
I
Woody a
really
bad guy? Wasn't that discussion?
Woody is the villain of Toy Story, the original one. So that's a good point, Brian. I hadn't thought of
Mm,
that.
I don't necessarily agree that he's the villain.
Well,
Watch it
tomato,
again.
tomato. It's all
He's,
good.
he is antagonistic at some points, but I wouldn't call him the villain.
He tries to kill his best friend. I mean,
Yeah, but there's a redemption arc there. I mean, that's the whole thing. He learns a lesson.
Don't
To
kill.
not be a villain. Yeah. Um, so, but it also does kind of suck because Tom Hanks actually asked the screenwriter and the producer to tone down the violence a little bit, and that's why the violence is not it's not toned like way down, but it's at least this could have been a lot more violent, and that sucks. I did read that one of the major differences between the graphic novel and the movie is that um, Michael Jr. He kills people in the graphic novel along with Tom Hanks or with along with Michael. So um, I think that would have been a little much for this the screen, but and I get why they changed it. But that's one difference that I'm like it kind of makes me want to go read the graphic novel to see what that's all about. But the graphic novel is also based on a manga series as well. So that was interesting to read about. I did want to give a shout out to the music. I really enjoyed the music. I thought it was really solid. Um, that this was also it was just we talked about the cinematography and the direction, both really solid for this. I did read also that Al Capone was supposed to be in this, but they ended up scrapping that scene because they think it would have been too distracting, and I think they're right. Um, just have him looming in the background instead. Um, yeah, I think that was the good route to go. Um, Jude Law, I did read that Jude Law hated the way that he looked. I'm like, well, yeah, you should hate the way that you look. You look like a psychopath. Um, he worked with a magician for a long time to do the coin thing. So kudos to him for doing that. Yeah, just overall, this is a really well put together, like borderline like underrated movie now. Um, I look back and I think, how come this wasn't nominated for Best Picture in 2002? And I look back, I'm like, oh, okay. This is going up against movies like Chicago, and maybe the Academy has a rule where you can only have one movie set in Chicago nominated for an Oscar at a time. I don't know. But um, but Whildin, good pick. It's a bummer that we didn't get to watch Toy Story 2. But you know, it
I
is what it
was
is.
very tempted. Um, so I quick note on the music. One of my favorite scenes, I that was one thing I noticed too, was that tense moment where he's staring like Tony, what's his name, down at sitting at the desk because he's got the gun very poorly hidden under the magazine, and they're going back and forth, just looking at each other, and the little jazz like from the club is just building in volume and building in volume, and it's like this is the most intense jazz I've ever felt. Like it's the most intense jazz has ever made me feel, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it also cracked me up in that same scene where the bodyguard was like, "Hey, wait, should I frisk you?" Like, yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. Like, just no clue what he's doing. Um,
Well, and trying to get a
yeah,
job while he's walking back there too. Like, hey, I could
yeah.
do bodyguard work if you want. I used to be a boxer. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he knows who he is, and he's kind of like not the boss, but he's the guy coming to get money from your boss. So, like, I definitely think he's above the guy that's sitting at the desk, and the bouncer knows that, or the bodyguard or whatever he is. So it's like, do I touch you? Kind of thing.
Aaron, keep going. Work
All right,
it, yeah.
it's too late. I got my paper. Um, Holy crap! This is, I think, I don't know. I was, if I would have had a couple more beers in me, if you would have, had me go next, and I would have downed a couple, there would have been some outlandish stuff I would have said about this movie. Like, I would definitely put it in my top 10, like right now, and that's sober. Um, I would, put looking at different movies I thought it gave me a Tombstone feel, the way it was shot and the characters. And I would put it better than Tombstone. I've never seen it. I heard of it, had no idea what it was about. To the point when Matt was talking about Jennifer's dad's car group. I thought it was like muscle cars. I had no idea it was like 1920s cars. And maybe you said that and I just didn't pay attention, but when I think car club, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
didn't. I did not say anything, but I think
so
they're
I had
kind
no
of a
idea.
variety.
Yeah, I had no idea it was like gangster times. Um, but all right, so where do I want to start? I mean, I was so impressed with it. I really liked it, and I can't believe I've never seen it. Like I said, I'd heard of it, but I don't remember a trailer, so I was going into it completely blind, and I thought it was awesome. From start to finish. Um, if anything, it maybe was a little slower at the start, and I like the way it ended. So I guess I'll go into that because I was just still taking notes when you guys were talking. Um, so Brian had talked about Capone stuff, um, and Hilty just talked about it a little bit. There is a Capone scene. I did research. I went looking into things and who was people and what was happening and where these places were. There is a Capone scene that was shot, completely done and cut. They cut the character completely out, who was played by um,
Anthony
Anthony
LaPaglia.
LaPaglia,
Yeah.
who I only really know from. I mean, you know him if you see him, but I know him from Empire Records. He's the store
Exactly. I
manager.
know him. That was the only because when I was doing that same research, I was like, who the hell is this guy? And then finally got to Empire Records. It's like, oh
But you know
shit.
his
Yeah.
face, like you've
Yeah.
seen him in, and I'm looking. He's got Frasier credits, and he's got, So I Married an Axe Murderer and stuff like that. But he's just done a little of everything. But that's, near and dear to my heart. So I definitely knew him from there. Um, yeah, and the Frank Nitti character, just comparing him to the way that Frank Nitti's portrayed in The Untouchables, completely different. I think this one's probably a lot more true to the character, or true to the real person. Um, so Matt was saying, oh, I already said about the car club. I was just made a note that I would kind of flip flop with you. I thought the end was awesome. Like I know, and I'm Tombstone, 2 hours and 14-minute runtime. This, what hour 55? So you've got an extra almost half hour at Tombstone, and it feels like it's an hour longer movie. So there's a lot more material there. But when we got to the end, when we got to the part where, Mike is on the run with his son, like there were so many like good quotable scenes, even quotable lines or just scenes that made me think of other things. like when they were running and they had, I think they were robbing a couple banks and they like painted the car burgundy. There's a little movie that's also near and dear to my heart, Johnny Dangerously, that they keep changing the color of the car. But the cops are on them every time they change it. So like I thought of
Shelf
that.
paper.
Yeah. It's covered in bunnies and duckies. But anyway, so and I love that it was making me think of other movies. Um the Mr. Rance, who was the guy who like was supposed to the tall skinny guy who had the thankfully um travel trunk that was made out of lead and steel and bulletproof.
The
Um
accountant.
yeah, the accountant. Who had went and taken the money, so he'd come looking for him, set that trap. And that's basically what the scene that's cut is. McGuire, who is Jude Law's character, that was his plan, was to they knew he was robbing the banks and they were gonna get him to come after the accountant and then ambush him. And they just cut that scene of that was like his idea, the assassin's idea. But the made me think of the Princess Bride, give me the files. I can't give you the files, pulls out his gun. Here's the files. Like he didn't, as soon as he pointed the gun at him, okay, they're in this other room over here. Let's go get them. But then he was setting them up. So, um, God. Oh, when he first robs the bank and the teller says, well, they'll find out who you are. And he says, my name's Sullivan. You need me to spell it for you? I'm like, that's a badass line. Um, let's see, what else did I say? Um, oh, the Wall Street ticker, that going off. Wall Street screws another good person, even though he's not a good person, because he can't hear the sun blaring the horn. I loved it when the glass shattered and he got McGuire in the face. I didn't know it would be so important at the end, especially if that's the only reason he comes after him is because he screwed up his face. Even if the Chicago syndicate's going to be after him because maybe he was told to back off and he didn't. Um, oh, when Tom catches Michael catches the bullet in the arm and comes so close to death. I don't know. We've seen a lot of people get like way more wounded and just like shrug it off and a bullet in the shoulder. Did he get hit somewhere else where he ends up in the farmhouse dying? That's just from a bullet in the shoulder. And I've never been shot anywhere, so I don't know what would kill me. Um, But there's a scene where he's in like some long underwear jammies and his is he's like kind of jacked. Like he looked like he had, like muscular. I never thought of Tom Hanks as muscular. And like I don't know, maybe it was just I wasn't drinking, so it
He
wasn't
did
like
look a
and
little beefy in this movie. I wouldn't call it muscular, but he did look like he put on some weight.
I would agree with Matt.
Yeah, he
okay.
definitely put
Yeah.
on
Well,
some weight.
look at it in that scene and just say it's like he's definitely got like a a chest that looks like somebody who's been working out, not like mine.
Matt, Google
Um,
Tom Hanks beefy.
You know what?
Nope.
I'll
And
leave
that's
that
what,
one alone.
like I'm not a
Okay.
giant Tom Hanks fanboy. I like a lot of his movies, but like, it doesn't, I don't run out and see something because Tom Hanks is in it. There's a lot of good stuff that he's done that I haven't seen. Um, I put, don't get the old people killed, because that seems to be, 50-50 in these kind of movies. The, mob shows up and, riddles the house, and the old couple are the only two who die, and Mike get out. Um, what did I say? Oh, you guys were talking about the music, which I noticed the whole time, but I only made one note of it. Um, on the street when he gets the old man and it's just the music and he's taking out all the guys with a Tommy gun, but you don't hear it. They're just dropping, puffs of water and they're dropping. Um, and it's just the music playing. I thought that was awesome. Um, his line, I'm glad it's you, you know, when, Tom Hanks is the one that kills him. Um,
I thought Paul
I
Newman
just
was
said,
awesome in this.
and the like close up acting, like Tom Hanks's face in that scene, I just said you could see how tortured he was. Like he didn't want to kill him. He felt terrible killing him, but he had to kill him. Um, the I don't know when the Nitty gives him the okay, and he's like, all right, enough's enough. He's in this hotel on this floor in this room. Um, I was super panicked when he gets to the elevator and you hear ding and the door opens. I'm like, oh, because I just thought, he's gonna, they double crossed him. And then even when he gets up to um, what's his name, 007's room, um, and that bodyguard just like steps aside and already has the door open for him. Um, that was pretty badass. Once again, still waiting. Like when he was walking down that hall, I'm like, "Ugh, this could still go either way." Um,
Probably none of
I
them liked Daniel Craig's character.
right, yeah, and I think you're right. They were sick of babysitting a guy who caused all this trouble, probably costing all of them money. Um,
I think the scene with Stanley Tucci where he was like, I'm next in charge. You're going to answer to me. Like, okay, you're going to die. So,
right.
I thought for sure Brian was just gonna say when he tells him he's like, "You're a baby that doesn't know his thumb from his dick."
Another great line.
I should have been on the whiteboard.
Couple more things. I thought cinematography wise, it was really cool. Shoots him in the bathtub, and then the door slowly closes with the mirror on it, so you can see the brains on the wall. Just you know, really good. I really really enjoyed this movie. I was saying out loud when Michael had the gun on McGuire, shoot him, kill him, do it. Because I kind of figured Tom Hanks had to die, and I really didn't want the kid to kill him, but I thought Tom Hanks was going to already be dead against the wall or something. Um, so that worked out. I'm glad the kid didn't have to kill him. But the last thing I wrote was fucking awesome. How does this get an 82 and an 86 on Rotten Tomatoes? I mean, I don't know. Never in a million years. I really, really liked it if you can't tell. Um, Looked up things like perdition. I didn't know what it meant. That's, kind of cool. I thought it was more like purgatory, but it's not. Um,
Why don't you share for the sake of
I was
anybody
like, what
that's
does it
listening?
mean?
oh, I thought I was the only one. Like, no, it's eternal damnation. So he's on the road to eternal damnation. Everything he's done so far, you know, is he's going to hell, and he knows it. Kind of thing is how I took it. And it's just kind of there is no Perdition, Michigan, where Aunt Sarah lived, so there is no road to Perdition. But the beach house scene was shot in Michigan, on the other side of the lake from Chicago. Um, yeah, what did I write down? It's Port Sheldon, Michigan, is where it was actually at in Olive Shores County Park. They built that house just for this. I'm sure it was just a facade, and then the room was probably a soundstage. But no, just God, so good. I'll definitely watch it again. I brought it up to my parents. I was like, hey, this old movie. I finally watched it. Like, oh God, we watch that like twice a year. They're like, we love that. So I just can't believe it's never crossed my plate. Um, but I'm super glad it did. So, um, Dan, last thing, mob movie. I don't know if I put it in the mob movie category, and then I was trying to like relate it to Casino and Goodfellas and stuff. It's not really. I think it's um, a thriller that has a loose tie to the mob. That's kind of just the vehicle or the foil that drives the you know action. I don't think it's really a mob movie. um but
Yeah,
most
yeah,
of
it's
the
not a straight mob movie like
right.
Goodfellas and stuff like that. And
Is Untouchables a mob movie?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
um yeah, because that's about like the cops chasing the bad guy. It could be cops and robbers.
The
um
mobsters? They were chasing the mobsters, were they?
yeah,
Mob
yeah,
feels more New
just
York though. Like
they
it's
could have
like
been any bad guys. It could have been bank robbers, or it just happened to be Al Capone. you know What were you saying,
Milo,
Milo?
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
I just said mob feels more New York to me. Like I don't know in that way, and so Untouchables or this or I don't know. Trying to think of
Would
something
you
else maybe.
do
But
you see a difference between a gangster movie and a mob movie? Or like,
yes, actually,
okay,
this I would say gangster.
okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
and maybe it's the time period too. Prohibition and like the '60s are way different. I don't know.
Then the 70s and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I was just asking the question because I would. This reminds me of Untouchables more than um, other
right,
mob movie, like a casino. You went to Casino and Goodfellas. I was just thinking,
right. Where see those movies, it's all about the inner workings of the mob, and it's all the mob and who, little Timmy's screwing,
right.
Paulie the waiter's wife, and it's all mob.
So
This just
Godfather
happens to
mob
be,
movie,
yeah,
right? Okay.
right, yeah, 100%.
Just
But yeah, God, loved it. So thanks, Mike.
Awesome. I'm glad. Um, can anybody think of any other Tom Hanks movies where he plays a character whose name is Sullivan other than Sully? And I kind of laughed at that when this movie started. It's like, what's the character's name? Sullivan. Oh, good. I was trying to think of like maybe there could be like some
Monsters
kind of
Inc.
like fan theory connection or something to it, but no, he just dies at the end, so it doesn't really work.
His name in Castaway.
I
I
don't
have no
know.
idea. I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't know.
I've never seen it.
oh, spoiler. He's on an island for part of it.
Anyway, Melo, go ahead, take
Awesome.
us home.
All right. Yeah, so I had seen this a long time ago, and I remember like an overall tone of or feel of liking it, but I Jane was asking about what the movie was, and I told her, and I knew that it was in this time period, but that was it. I could not remember. I knew that Tom Hanks was kind of not on the up and up, but other than that, like I really did not remember anything from this, which I'm surprised because like everybody here, I really did like it a lot. I think I fall most in line maybe with Matt, where um, I think it was really good, but there was just a couple of things that were prevented it from being into the great category for me. And it was some questions I had that I think I know the answer, but because I don't know that I know the answer, maybe was the difference. Um, but yeah, Sam Mendes. So I think this is the third one. So 1917 and American Beauty are other ones that we've had in this group. Um, it reminded me a little bit of the beginning of American Beauty, where I think Brian asked the question earlier. Like, so I knew he had to die, right? He talks about how people remember his father a certain way or they think of certain characteristics of his dad, but I spent 6 weeks with him and this is our story, right? And so, why weren't there more than 6 weeks? I felt was kind of okay, this isn't going to go well. Um, Man, Daniel Craig is so different. I agree about the accent. That's unfortunate. But I remember, like, I was talking to Jamie about this, and she was looking at the cast, trying to, decide if she wanted to watch this one. And she mentioned Daniel Craig, and I remembered so little of this movie that I was like, I don't even remember him being in this. And I think the main reason is because he wasn't Bond yet. I didn't know him as, like as an actor or as a name. I think he does a great job as a jerk, which is not usually his deal. Um, but yeah, the accent was a little different. Also, I think I remember speaking of uh, beefiness. I remember him being like the like a pretty jacked up Bond, and that was different than the other guys. And he wasn't in this. I just wrote he was so different. So I wrote thin and frail, and part of the frail is more like the way he played the character, just kind of a you know weasel. Um, Speaking of that, there were a couple. So I put club owner was a great sleaze bag. I thought that guy like did a lot with very little. So here was one of the questions I had. So the letter that he delivered, that was from Rooney, was Paul Newman's name, by the way. That was from him, right?
I
was the
don't think
son.
so. I think the
Yeah,
I thought it
son
was the
wrote
son.
I
It
think
was
the
from the
son,
son,
yeah,
right? Okay, that makes so much more
because
sense.
Paul Newman never would have done that.
Right. Okay. I
He said it was from his father so that he would deliver it.
right.
He wasn't
Right.
going to deliver it if it was from him.
And that's
I
why
Got
I think.
that's why he doesn't open the letter, because he believes the son saying that came from the
okay.
dad.
And I just wrote like it's a continuation because the kid saw what happened. He just then was like, we got to get rid of these guys because the kid will turn over on us or whatever.
I took it just to
Yeah.
it was some of that, but it was also the jealousy, because he's at the
Mm.
table and he kind of embarrassed him in front of everybody, and then he walks away with his arm around Sullivan talking to him, and you
Well,
can just
or the
see
piano
Daniel
scene
Craig
at the right.
right at the funeral, and they sit and play. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a son who realizes his dad doesn't respect him and feels that he loves somebody else who's not his own kid. Sorry to
Yeah.
jump in, but
No,
that's
no,
just
no. It's
it
yeah.
hits home, Malo. It hits home.
Sorry. uh I like the coming in through the window, like the cowboy in the book. I guess Lone Ranger was eventually, we saw that later, that was what the book was. Um, that was one of the things. And again, like I had some of these questions, and so maybe I needed a little more hand holding. That one I didn't. And then they went back to it, and he's going like you see it again. But I still thought it was kind of cool. We've all talked about this. Jude Law, I put great creep, like just awesome as a awful person in every way. Just the bribing the cop to get him out of there, taking these photos, and the guy's not really dead. Oh, just horrible. So I did have the question of like, so once he, yeah, so once he guns down all of Rooney's guys and all of that, I still was confused. I'm like, after taking all that money, though, they still give up Connor. Like, not that they give a shit about Connor, but I would think there's got to be some restitution. Like the reason he was doing that was for them to give him up, not to actually steal money from Capone, which I would assume is a very bad idea.
I think
And I
that
just never,
wasn't that. I thought Connor was stealing, like Connor was doing stuff behind the mob's back. Like that was, and like Paul Newman
100%.
was
But
letting it
but
go,
Tom
but
Hanks didn't know that when he started taking the money in the beginning. He found that out, and that was a byproduct. But I would have thought like a scene making that right. Here's the money back. Here's why I did that.
Right.
We're all square,
you see.
right?
You let
Like
me
that.
kill Connor, I'll give you the money back,
Yeah.
minus
Yeah.
the money
That,
I gave the farmers.
right. Fine. Yeah. And yeah, spent on the road, whatever. But something there was a little, I still just like if I was Nitty or Capone or whatever, like I still didn't feel like we were square.
Yeah.
And then I was confused. So I guess the reason he went to the sister's house was he thought they were square. So again, maybe I don't know, maybe you just one little scene or something there that would have helped fix all that for me. And Dan mentioned this earlier, so I guess because the dog was there, so somebody lived there or was there. So I guess the sister and maybe others are dead, but we never see that either. Or I don't know unless I missed something.
Yeah, no, they
But
didn't
yeah,
show it.
overall, yeah. And speaking of the violence, I was going to write something about like just a really way more violent than I remembered. But kind of to Aaron's point, they did like it could have been a lot more. They didn't show Jennifer Jason Leigh and Peter and some other things. Even Paul Newman, they didn't show that. Right? There could have been a lot more. Um,
Yeah, they
there
turned the
was
camera away a lot of times that people got killed.
yeah. The talking about cinematography, that whole last scene, just the way with the ocean and it's a clean white room and him dying there and the camera set up, really, really well done. I've been going through a bunch of series that I should have watched and hadn't. And speaking of which, like maybe a year ago or so, Sopranos was one of those. So in the mob thing, but I've been going through Peaky Blinders, and
That's good stuff.
oh, so good. I'm probably gonna watch the season 3 finale tonight. And so, but they said something there that I hadn't heard before. But they say it in here at the wake. Paul Newman gives the toast, and I'm not Irish, but may you be in heaven an hour before the devil knows you're dead. I just thought it was pretty cool that they had that in there, and I'd seen it. Oh, okay. Two last things. Nope, sorry, three. I know we don't want the kid to grow up like his dad. Take the fucking shot. Shoot the guy. You don't get to grow up at all if you don't. Take the shot. We'll talk about it later, maybe for 30 seconds. But anyway, all right. So that part got me. Who wrote the graphic novel? Do we
Max
I don't know.
Allen Collins.
Okay, cool.
And since you brought it up, it is on Hoopla
Thank
for
you.
anybody who wants to download it.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. The very last thing I had was kind of a weird, I feel like, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but I had kind of a similar thing. So Matt mentioned a gentleman that we worked with and knew and all that. Paul Meyer did the dancing scene and he did a lot of the he was a judge. Like he would fly across the country to judge Irish dancing competitions and all of that, and that's how his group got hired to do this. And so in watching the credits, I was looking for him and I didn't see him credited or the group, and maybe I missed that. But what I did notice, it was a weird thing. I was looking at the production assistants, and there was a guy named Ryan Suffren, and I grew up with and played baseball with a guy named Ryan Suffren. He's a year ahead of me, and I went and looked him up, and sure enough, he was a production assistant, and then he's done all kinds of stuff. He's done all the writer, director, all this work with like Steven Spielberg after, and same guy. So it was just kind of interesting to come across that little tidbit. Very much like the last time I brought this up with the guy I went to college with, Matt Smith. I don't think I can get him on the phone or text him very easily, but it was an interesting little connection of somebody who grew up in the same town as me that just came across. So anyway, really did like the movie. I felt, honestly, sorry, Aaron, the 80s range is probably where I would put this just because of those little things that I didn't quite square up, and maybe it was a me thing, but yeah, really, really good. And yeah, well, we'll leave it at that. Really, really good.
Deal. I guess I don't really have a lot to add from what everybody else has said. I did really like it. I don't know if I would put it in my top 10, but I liked it a lot. Um, acting was great. Cinematography was fantastic. I did like the music, and the way that was used. I've mentioned most of that already. Um, yeah, I guess I don't really have a ton. I will ask the group, where does this rank as far as Tom Hanks movies goes for you? I should say, for you. Like
Well, it
somewhere in the
depends.
middle, towards the
It depends because if you're asking like Tom Hanks, Tom Hanks movie,
Greatest Tom
probably
Hanks movie ever made.
um
I've
like
been known to pop off like that once in a while.
so it's like because it's the difference between best Tom Hanks, like best movie with Tom Hanks in it, or best Tom Hanks performance. Because I think
Best
this is a
Tom
pretty
Hanks.
great.
Okay.
I think this is a pretty great Tom Hanks like it's a different Tom Hanks performance, and I think that's what I really appreciate about it.
And
In
I agree with
terms,
you. I wish he did more roles like this. I mean, it's, everybody loves Tom. There's the old Simpsons movie joke where, he's like, the government's lost credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine because that's just the,
Mhm.
the reputation Tom Hanks has. But yeah, it would be fun to see him a little sleazier in some movies or a little darker. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, for Tom Hanks movies, I would say this is like lower tier of like the top echelon of Tom Hanks, uh, Tom Hanks movies and performances, probably.
Is it better than Toy Story?
I don't know. Toy Story, Tom Hanks, this was the first time that he really stretched his wings as a villain. So I don't know.
I
I'm not sure I could compare.
think that thing you do is top one. No,
Oh,
one thing I did want to talk about with it, I forgot. That might be something else. It's not. I don't know. Like the villain, the sleazy guy doesn't come easily, right? The natural just
I don't know.
charisma of Tom Hanks comes through. Like he did.
Oh.
But well, here was the thing that I thought wasn't. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead, and I'll finish.
No, no, I was just saying, I thought you meant in general people. I didn't know you meant Tom Hanks. I was just speaking of myself. But go ahead.
So the character that they build in the beginning is this very straight-laced, uh, I don't know, like he gets to breakfast and the kids have to clean up and leave so that he doesn't have to be bothered with them is kind of the vibe I got. Granted, a significant incident happens between that and the rest of the movie, and so maybe that changes some of that. But even then, like the Sullivan line, or him just being more of a human comes through so much more naturally because that's just who he is, right? And we've seen like you can't get that much of a body of work. Any of the greats, any of the people that we've seen so many times, whatever, Cruz, Nicholson, Newman, like right, all these guys that you've seen a million times. I don't care how good of an actor you are, you do a certain thing in those films a certain way so many times. It's just I think that their true self comes through that much more, and you get to see that. And I think that him being just a decent human being, maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's a total asshole, but if so, he fooled me because that genuineness of the comedic and finding the lightheartedness uh, in life, like that just seems so much more natural.
Yeah, maybe genuine would be a word too on that one. I just know, and not to, sorry, but in professional wrestling lore, a lot of the guys that make the best heels, I mean, some of them are just naturally dicks anyway, but like there are a lot of like really nice guys in that business that make fantastic bad guys. Edge or Kurt Angle, or there are a lot of Eddie Guerrero, um, a lot of people that are like excellent. They play excellent bad guys for whatever reason, but they're, real life, they're just the nicest dudes.
Yeah.
So I don't
Hollywood
know.
Hulk
It's
Hogan.
it's well, that's about
No,
the opposite case there. That's
no.
that's
Speaking of, hang on, just so I don't know.
Oh,
I kind of got political, I guess, just right there. Did they know that making Jude Law look like a young Elon Musk was going to make him like very hateable? Because as soon as I saw him, like he kind of looks like Elon Musk when you see that PayPal stuff when he and he's bald and kind of grungy looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a picture they show like when he was developing PayPal or whatever he did with PayPal, and like he's like bald like Jude Law, and now he's got a full head of hair 30 years later. It's crazy, but but I just saw as soon as I saw him, I was like,
yes.
he looks like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Well, unless anybody has anything else, I guess that's I'm I'm good with wrapping on Road Perdition.
I will say, Aaron mentioned the gunshot wound that uh, I immediately went to infection was
Right.
the
Yep.
issue,
Yeah.
and they say that back in wartime and it wasn't the injuries that killed them, it was the infection afterwards. So that's where I took it.
Well,
But
and with as filthy as Jude Law was as a character, the bullets were probably gross. You know, no. Okay. Sorry.
Fair.
okay.
Did you
So
see his fingernails?
Yeah.
See his teeth.
We don't know how long they were driving before he passed out and pulled over at the farmhouse. So
Right.
yeah.
Side note, how easy was it to get away with murder back then? Like
Way
the fact that
easier.
you could just, I mean,
I think if some people knew, like if you're wielding a Tommy gun, they're like, "Oh, that's one of Capone's guys. We're gonna look the other way." You know? So,
probably.
So in that scene, here's a little
Wait.
window into my wife's mentality. She goes, "Time to kill the witnesses." I was like, "Whoa, what the hell?"
it's a loose end.
There's like a whole apartment building. What are you talking about?
So,
I
note
didn't
to
dig enough
self,
holes.
if Melo disappears, and Aaron, way to go straight to like the Bugs Bunny mob guy. Hey, he could be Rabbit. Yeah, okay. So, um, well, I guess that's going to wrap up our talk about Road to Perdition. And next coming up is Aaron's pick for Clint Eastwood or Jamie Lee Curtis. But first, Mike Hilty, your actors for the next round. Uh, the You have Michael Caine or Walla Davis.
Viola.
Voila, Davis. Okay. Okay.
Well
Viola.
played.
Yeah,
Well
Viola.
played.
I
Sorry.
know. I know.
Viola. So hopefully we're watching Suicide Squad.
Which one? The Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad?
The
The one that sucks the least.
Going
So
with Philion.
yeah. Detachable arm. Kid. Aaron, your pick for next week.
Okay, so I'm off school and I had a lot of time. So I put more thought into this pick than I put into probably most things I've done in the last year. I'm going with Jamie Lee Curtis because I thought Clint Eastwood would be too easy. And as soon as I told my wife about what we're doing here, she's like, "Is everybody picking guys?" I'm like, "Oh, no, no." But I said I plan on picking whatever girl it was. I don't think I'd been given her yet. But I was going to go with the actress. I don't know. I just had that in mind. Um,
I was gonna do that, but Tom Hanks was kind of just
eh,
the
He's
you
the
know
same, and but Burt Reynolds. Yeah. Anyway,
I
yeah,
I was gonna
Clint
pick my
Eastwood. Come on.
actress, but I was gonna pick a dude movie anyway, so I was like, what's the difference?
Right. All right. So I went on a deep dive into um, her acting career, and right off the get, you know, not True Lies, any of the Halloweens, Trading Places, Knives Out. You guys have already seen. We already watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I think I've seen Freaky Friday, but I've seen enough Body Switch. So those ones were off the table, even though like they're the biggest ones that always come up. So we're definitely not watching any of those, if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Some of the honorable mentions that almost made it. So, like, besides it, she's got a lot of not well received movies. A lot of 5.7s and 6.8s and 4.7s. I was going to go with the worst, which is an animated Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that is unwatchable. I watched like a clip or as many clips as I could on YouTube, and it's like the animation is halfway done, and she's just a voice character of like the Red Queen or something like that. So it is unbelievably terrible. But I thought
would you
that
put
might be
it
funny.
above better or worse than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
We got there.
He's trying
We got
so
there.
hard.
There it is.
We got there, and it was natural too. It was very
Yeah.
natural progression.
As far as unwatchability, I think it's probably worse than Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it's
Well,
terrible.
now you gotta pick it.
Give it a look. No, I won't. I would not make Dan do that. He wouldn't show up next week. A terribly animated. No. But The Fog, I was really interested in. Haven't seen it. Not watching it. Nicholas's Gift almost made the cut, but I didn't want to go there. It's about they're on vacation and their son dies in Italy, and they have to make the heart-wrenching decision to donate his organs, and he saves 7 Italian people's lives and blah, you know. Was thinking about it, but that's not the direction I wanted to go. Perfect with John Travolta. He's a reporter from New York, and I know
Why are
I
you
might have
explaining
seen
it? Everyone's seen it.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
Who's seen
I
it?
haven't
Who's
seen
seen Perfect?
I think I've seen it.
Oh, that's a weird combination. But yeah, she runs a jazzercise studio in California, and John
That's a
Travolta goes
spank
out there to
bank
do
movie.
it. Oh yeah,
I have
that's
not watched it. I listened to a podcast. How did this get made about it? That's what it was.
okay. So didn't make the cut. Came down to 2. Though I'll just tell you, it didn't make it, but I almost the You Again. I remember seeing about it. It's got a great cast. Sigourney Weaver's in it, and it's about her daughter has moved away and coming home for her. And you could look up all these people. I don't have all their names memorized. She's coming home for her brother's wedding. Her brother is actually marrying the daughter's high school bully, and the mom's like telling her to suck it up. It'll be all right. Well, then you find out that the daughter's high school bully, the mom's not in the picture, and her aunt is, you know, fulfilling that role, and it's Sigourney Weaver, and it's her high school bully, you know. So, and then hilarity ensues about the wedding. So stayed away from that one. 2010, You Again. It got a B plus in Cinema Score. So I was like, how bad could it be? But what we are going to watch, I felt it was right up my alley. Blue Steel from 1990.
That's
Steel.
She's a
That's-
rookie cop.
That's choice.
There's
That's
Okay.
a choice. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, she didn't have anything that was going to save my scores, so there were no 9s unless. So, I mean, this is
kind
it's a B minus Cinema Score. It's 5.8 IMDb, 73 critics for Rotten Tomatoes, but only 35 for the audience. So, it might be terrible, but 1990 actually, Blue Steel.
Clancy Brown, Richard Jenkins, Kevin
Yeah, I mean,
Dunn.
you're good. I mean, it should have been huge
Tom
in the
Sizemore?
90s. Maybe it was like
Sizemore.
5 years too late. You know, it missed its calling. It should have come out in 1985 against Red Heat and whatever else.
Huh.
But anyway, that's
It
what
is-
I'm picking.
It is streaming on Stars for those.
I didn't even look at any of that, so
So
it's going to cost you $4 to be in the club this week, boys.
And Fossum. Fossum TV. Fossum TV. I'm just telling you, it's
I bet it
streaming
stands for
on
fucking awesome.
maybe streaming for free.
Pluto TV and Tubi, if anybody uses either of those.
By the way, that was the most Aaron pick
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
I don't
What,
think
the
you
way I
could've-
said it or the actual movie?
Yeah.
But,
I like the journey. I like getting there.
oh, it was a journey. It was a journey.
The landing, not so much.
Come on, I stuck the landing.
I
I was trying to
I
work in something because Blue Steel is what's his name's look in Zoolander, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that Blue
yeah.
Steel?
Oh,
So I was trying to get a comparison there, but
so who directed this?
I don't know. I was watching trailers and looking up cinema scores, and
Catherine Bigelow.
I've heard of her.
She's well known for nothing.
Shut up.
Oh, sorry.
How do I know the name?
Lies.
Oh, whoa, no,
Zero.
that is a lie. Zero Dark
First-
30, Hurt
I was about
Locker,
to say,
Detroit.
first woman to win an Oscar. Are you kidding me?
I was,
Or for directing?
apologies.
We all got to
Sensei.
start somewhere.
Well, that's going to wrap up this week's BTB group. We will see y'all next week.
That will do it for today's episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourselves a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.